Hey, what's up? This is Mad Dog 2001 coming to you with a wrestling review actually. Yes, I finally caught a event for once. I didn't catch Smackdown when it came on necessarily, but I watched it as soon as I got home from work online. Thanks to right here on YouTube actually. It's pretty interesting. I found it like pretty easily like that. Anyways, the thing that was interesting about this SmackDown in my mind is there were 7 matches. Well, technically 6. But right after, Raw had their 15th anniversary, it's very tough for their next big wrestling event, which would be SmackDown. I wanted to see if things were going to change. I know it's different shows, but whatever. They're pretty much right now, all the brands are kind of unifying, anyways. So we start off with Edge versus Funaki because Edge kind of goes off saying like how much he loves Vicky Girl, whatever bullshit. Uh, your typical squash match, I guess, so to say. Edge wins pretty easily. We'll go to the next match, I guess. It was a Divas match. Didn't really care for it, I guess. Uh, wasn't paying attention. Next match was I even forgot who won too. Next match was Rey Mysterio versus Kenny Dykstra, which was a pretty good. I actually like this match, especially because MVP was announcing from the announce table, him and JBL, and ganging up on Michael Cole, and JBL has some heated history with Rey Mysterio, so it was interesting, and it's pretty funny that every time Rey Mysterio gets in the ring, Michael Cole always has to mention the part, oh, he's the one who made you retire, kind of thing. And nice little controversial thing in the announce table. The one thing I found very interesting, with a note for JBL, one thing I find pretty interesting with him, or kind of weird, is, you know, just 2 weeks ago, he came back with Farouk as Bradshaw, and they were the APA. The very next week on SmackDown, really nothing was mentioned about that, except for the fact when Hornswoggle came out. That was the only time that was brought up. And JBL just kind of pretended like he was never on Raw. I thought they might have went something weren't there. Uh, Next match. I don't know why I'm doing this because it's like here, it's over there. I can see the match. No, joking. Anyways, next match was a last man standing match between Kane and Batista, and again, this was good for a SmackDown match or good for a TV match. I thought so. There were some nice moves, I guess to say, and the fact was it went back and forth, and I thought that. And Kane looked really strong in this match. For once, he didn't look like a frickin' pushover, jobbing everybody. Uh, Batista went over in this one, but barely. He spine busters, or I think it was a spine buster. I can't remember now. Spine busters came through the announce table. Well, it wasn't really through it. It was a pretty weak spine buster on the table. Didn't even look like Kane got hit pretty hard at all. But and then so Batista kind of fucked that one up. And then Edge came and speared Batista to kind of even the things, but Batista got up about 8 seconds, or at the 8 or 9 second mark, and he won. The next match was Festus from Jesse and Festus versus The Miz, and this one really surprised me. Festus won this match, and Miz is the big one of the big guys on ECW, and he gets beat by a SmackDown tag team partner, I guess. Uh, it surprised me, but in the same way, you kind of thought it was gonna happen because Festus, if between for those of you that don't know, The Miz and John Morrison have having this feud with Jesse and Festus, which I think is a pretty decent tag team. Uh, Jesse and Festus, they've been Pretty much Festus carries the team every time the bell rings. He goes, yeah, goes all crazy and shit. It's pretty cool. Uh, I like Festus. I won't lie. And then the next match was supposed to be Hornswoggle versus, of course, the Grey Khali. The third week in a row they've tried. I mean, the third event in the row they've tried this. And I was wondering who's going to be the one to interrupt this because there's no way Hornswoggle is ever going to wrestle anytime soon. It was kind of a eh. Finley comes down. It's like, oh, this has been done before. Finley came down, hit him with the shillelagh, and then Khali came back and fucking pummeled Finley. And yeah, they're making it look like Finley has no chance to beat Khali at Armageddon. Next was the main event, and a pretty shitty main event. Uh, Big Daddy V and Mark Henry versus The Undertaker in a handicap match. This was just crap. I didn't like it, and I'm normally not very picky with matches, at least, or I'm not one to go out and say the match was bad or stuff like that, because I just appreciate for what it is. I didn't like this one at all. Basically, it was pretty boring, and the way the ending was pretty weak too. Of course, I don't think Mark Henry did his part in jumping into the choke slam because Mark Henry's like 400 pounds. But Undertaker ain't lifting up a 400-pound man with one arm. Yeah, right. He needed some help. Henry didn't jump, and it made the choke slam look really weak. And Big Daddy V, that fat fuck, was probably sitting in the corner somewhere and really not doing anything. Uh, Undertaker wins the match, obviously, and it ends with him getting his ass kicked by Big Daddy V, Mark Henry, and then Edge comes down to the ring and mocks him with the little "go" thing. So I I like this. I mean, overall as a whole for SmackDown, because I've always liked SmackDown a lot better than Raw, just because you get more wrestling in it and you see the younger stars and the Raw rejects becoming bigger on a smaller show. Uh, the Kane and Batista match was actually, in my mind, not that bad for a last man standing match. Does it match up to Triple H and Orton? No, because that was a pay per view. But for a SmackDown main event, and I think the last man standing match I've seen on SmackDown was like 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was. Let's see, 3 years ago it was JBL versus Kurt Angle, two heels at the time, and I thought that match was pretty good. It had a pretty shitty ending, but a lot of matches do. I mean, I the SmackDown was okay. I mean, it wasn't anything to write home or something like, oh, I saw the best SmackDown. No, it was just a typical SmackDown, and if SmackDown keeps to this kind of style, I think it'll get better. The most amazing thing I thought was Festus going over on the Miz. That one surprised me. Other than that, I picked all the winners tonight. I'm pretty good at that. And then the Rey Mysterio Kenny Dykstra match was pretty good. So I mean, SmackDown doing a decent job. I probably won't watch Armageddon or even put a review on it, so I really don't care. I'm looking forward to the Undertaker, Batista, and Edge match. That match looks promising, and maybe Jericho versus Orton. That match might be alright. And Jeff Hardy versus Triple H, I'm not interested in. To be honest, I don't even think Jeff Hardy in my mind's a main eventer anyways, but that's just me. Royal Rumble prediction. I'll do it right now. Uh, my Royal Rumble prediction is, and this one's gonna get a little bit of fueled or something, is Ric Flair. Yeah, I'm picking Ric Flair to win the Rumble this year. Part of the reason is I don't think Jeff Hardy's winning it, and I don't think Mr. Kennedy's winning it or CM Punk. I think Ric Flair wins it because I think WrestleMania is going to be built around him, about him not retiring. This is Mad Dog 2001.